starting a new lesson from history. This is chapter 7, an imperial capital, Vijayanagar. It is from 14th to 16th century. So as we start the chapter, let us just go through the summary of this chapter, or let's see what are we going to study in this chapter. So Vijayanagar, the name itself means a city of victory. The name was used for the city as well as the kingdom. The kingdom was founded in 14th century. During its period, the greatest success, it extended from the river Krishna in the north to extreme south of the peninsula. In 1565, the city was plundered and subsequently deserted. The kingdom fell into ruin. Then it was completely destroyed by the 17th and 18th century, but stayed in the memories of the people living in the region of Krishna and Tungabhadra doab. Now people recall it as Hampi, and this is the name which was obtained from the local mother goddesses, Pampadevi. Now oral traditions are combined with archaeologists' findings, ornaments, inscriptions and other which help the scholars to redetect the Vijayanagar kingdom. So that is all about the summary. So now we will start the chapter with its first topic, and the first topic itself is the discovery of Hampi. So when you talk about this discovery of Hampi, a name, that is Colonel Colin Mackenzie, comes to our mind. He was an engineer and antiquarian. He brought the ruins of Hampi in public knowledge in 1800 AD. He was an employee of the East India Company. He completed a survey map of the site, and he also collected very early information that was based on the memories of the priest of Virupaksha temple and the shrine of Pampadevi. Then from 1856 onwards, the photographers started to maintain the records of monuments which can be studied. In 1836, epigraphs collected many dozen inscriptions that were found at the temples of Hampi. Now historians compared all the informations from the sources with accounts of the foreign travelers in the other literature which was written in Telugu, Kannada, Tamil and Sanskrit. Our next topic, this is Rayas, Nayakas and Sultans. So students, for this topics, few topics only, I may not give you any questions because the questions are very simple one, like write a note on Rayas, Nayakas and Sultans, or the previous one, write a note on the discovery of Hampi, like that it will be there. So I am not giving any questions, you can just make it in that way only. Then besides this, short notes will be there, like who are the Rayas, who are the Nayakas, all these things will be there. So anyways, let us see about this topic. So the Vijayanagar kingdom was founded by two brothers named as Harihara and Bukka. And this is not just a myth, or this is not just something that people say that say or declare anybody's name, right? The name of these two brothers could be found in some evidences, which was found by the people or the historians. Like there were some epigraphic proofs, or there were some types of beliefs of traditions, right? From there they could find that these two brothers found out the kingdom known as Vijayanagar. The kingdom was included within its ups and downs frontiers. In the kingdom, people spoke very diverse languages, means different type of languages could be seen that they used to speak, and they also follow several religious customs. It was not only a particular custom, but yes, many type of customs could be seen, and all these things are not just blindly been told to you, but it is from the evidences of the epigraphs. Now at the northern border, the king of these kingdom strive for superiority with the sultans of the Deccan and Gajapati rulers of Odisha to control the fertile valley and resources around it. Now this was little bit we can say the bone of contention. Okay, now means what? The people or the kingdom of this area, that means the northern border, they always had some kind of difficulty because there were many kings around this area who always fight with the kings of this northern frontier of Vijayanagar so that they can take away the land which was very fertile, right? So that is why it is said that the northern frontier, the kings were always with they have to fight with the contemporary rulers, okay, like the sultans of the Deccan and Gajapati rulers of Orissa. And what is the cause of this? Because they want to take away the fertile area which was under the control of Vijayanagar, that is in the northern frontier. Besides this, now building techniques. Now when you talk about building techniques, means they in this area, the way they make buildings and the concept were initiated and further developed. Now whatever they had learned, whatever ways they used to practice for constructing buildings was not limited up to that period only. From every period it started to increase its development. We can say like by the coming years or as a year passed by, they start growing their architectural style, or the concept was being developed slowly and slowly. Now for example, there are some kings like Cholas in Tamil Nadu, then Hoysalas in Karnataka, and the powerful rulers during that time. Okay, all these people were learning different things, or they brought out different type of ways and you know the means of how to construct some beautiful temples of their time, right? So likewise Brihadeshwara, okay, Brihadeshwara. Now this is the name of a temple at Thanjavur. Okay, then Chennakeshava at Belur were supported by the ruling elites. Now these are some of the temples, you know, which were so popular of the time that even the kings, whoever come and rule that period, they always supported this. Because supported means what? They start giving some kind of fund so that these temples can be maintained. Then the rulers of Vijayanagar, okay, those kings, I mean, they call themselves as Rayas. So we got the first thing, that who are the Rayas. Now Rayas means the kings, and these kings are basically the kings of Vijayanagar, and they call themselves as Rayas. Kings and traders. So in this part we will just continue to know like who were the kings, then what kind of traders used to come and deal with the king. And besides this, we may also study here like what type of trade was being controlled or being followed in this part of time or during this era. So let's see. First of all, as it is said that during this moment or during this period, warfare was very common, and warfare during the period relied means totally depend upon the effectual cavalry. When you talk about cavalry, means army. And it was very significant for rival kingdoms to import quality horses from Arabia and Central Asia. So as it is said that in order to look after the beautiful army or a strong army, you need horses, and all these horses comes from Arabia and Central Asia. So that is what we are talking about, the traders now. So they started trading from different countries like Arab and Asia. Remember, we are talking about the Vijayanagar kings, right? And some parts of kings which are around this area only. So they started to trade with the Arab and the Central Asia. For what? Because they need a strong army. So this strong army needs some good horses. So they demanded the horses from there. Then merchant communities. Now when you talk about merchant communities, means these are the communities who are dealing with some kind of business. They were known as Kudirai Chetis. They used to take part in the trading. Now these are the main people who are dealing with horse or horse merchants, we can say. Now from 1498, Portuguese as a new traders approach on the west coast of the subcontinent. They try to set up a trading and military centers, and then they had advanced military technology in the use of muskets. Then it helped them to become the significant force in the confused politics of that period. Now people does not know like what to do, what not to do. At that moment, Portuguese reached with some ideas of established militaries and military training system. So now they are worried, they were tense, or they were even not aware, or they were not sure what to do. So they were very confused among themselves. Then the kingdom itself, that means the kingdom was famous for its textile, spices and stones. Stones means precious stone, any kind of stones, but which is very precious, which is hardly found. Usually traded was considered as a status sign for a particular people or for particular cities. Then unusual goods like stones and jewelry were also demanded by rich people. Then the revenue which was derived from the people who were in trade was the important source of prosperity of the kingdom. That means whatever business you do it, whatever kind of things you deal with, but you have to pay some kind of revenue, and this revenue goes to the kingdom, and this also make the kingdom prosper. Prosper means to become, develop, or to do something, or to be, or to increase their effectivity. So we reach our next topic. The topic is the apogee and the decline of the empire. When you talk about the term apogee, it means the highest point. This was a period when Vijayanagara Empire was very powerful and was very dominating. But being so dominant and being so powerful, the empire declined. And this is the thing that we are going to study. We are going to study that what was the real cause of the decline of the empire, right? So take down a question for this topic. The question is, describe the factors responsible for the decline of the Vijayanagar Empire. So the Vijayanagar kingdom was first ruled by the Sangama dynasty, and it ruled till 1485. Before I proceed, remember, in this part you will be talking about some of the kingdoms or dynasty which came one after another. You have to remember this chronology. A question used to be asked in the board regarding this thing, that is it, write in chronological order the dynasties, or they may give you any choices and you have to just give this multiple choice. Okay, that means they will give you some kind of question saying that find out the correct chronological order of the dynasty. So you have to know all these things. Anyways, coming back to that topic. So this Sangama dynasty ruled till 1485, and right after them Suluvas, okay, they replaced this Sangama dynasty, and Suluvas were exactly not the kings. They were the military commanders, right? Being the military commanders, they know the basic things to become a king, and they were quite confident that they can defeat some kings and they can be in power. So they came into the power, and they ruled till 1503. After the Suluvas came the Tuluvas, and the most famous king comes from this dynasty, Tuluva dynasty. The name of the king is Krishna-Deva. So now Krishna-Deva was specialized and also solidified by expansion. He really liked to expand his area or his empire. So for this, what did he do is he captured the region between Tungabhadra and Krishna river till 1512. Then slowly and slowly he overpowered means he started controlling over the rulers or the kings of the Odisha, and laid or seized the Sultan of Bijapur and defeated them. So that is how he showed his power, and that is how he propelled for expansion. Then Krishna-Deva is appreciated for the construction of some fine temples and adding some effective gopurams. When you say gopurams, means the gateways. Okay. Now his constructions were so good that people really want to study, like how or what does the gopuram says, what story is being depicted in a gopuram. Still now people are studying. When you say people, means the historians, they want to know what was the exact thing written in the gopuram. It looks so beautiful. Still no one can compete this type of architecture. That is why he was given the credit for all this construction of fine temples. Then important South Indian temples were built during his kingdom, means his time or range. He founded a suburban township near Vijayanagar known as Nagallapuram. Now when you say township means what? A small town which was settled, and then he said that this will be one of the important town of my empire, and he named this empire or this town after his mother. Then that is all about the good thing about the empire. But suddenly the empire declined. Now what is the cause of this decline? So the decline started, or it was shown right after the death of Krishna-Tungabhadra in 1529. So he died. It was due to the rebels, that is Nayakas. The situation and control and everything was taken over by the Aravidu in 1542, who ruled till the end of 17th century. So this is the beginning of the fall of the empire, right? One after another they will be trying to control this area. Like the empire, Vijayanagara Empire was known for its fertile land, for its beautiful architecture, for its beautiful forest. So now whoever will come after Krishna-Tungabhadra will fight among themselves, and they will be destroying the empire one by one or period by period. So as we said, the strain started, okay, and it was because because of the imperial management. Then Aravidu came into power in 1542 and ruled till the end of 17th century. In 1565, another king, you can see another king will come. The military chiefs of the rulers of the kingdom under the leadership of Rama Raya, chief minister of Vijayanagar, joined in a battle at Rakshashi Tangadi, and which was also known as the Battle of Talikota, right? So here what happened, Ramaraya was defeated by the joint forces of Bijapur, Ahmednagar and Golconda. So alone they were unable to defeat him, but they had this alliance team. That means they combined together and they fought with Ramaraya, right? Now after fighting with him or after defeating him, they plundered the city. Plundered means they started they enter the city, they start looting the city the way they want. Okay, these are the victorious team, like the Bijapur, Ahmednagar and the Golconda forces. They plundered the city. It was totally deserted within the few years. So after plundering the city of Vijayanagar, the whole city was deserted within few years. Now focus was changed to the east, and this side Aravidu dynasty was there, and they were from Penukonda, and this Penukonda was changed to Chandragiri later. The relationship between sultans and the Raya were not always good despite religious differences, or we can say they were not supporting each other, or they were not even very bad enemies, or they don't like each other like that, but there was some kind of strategy was going on between these two, and that means the Sultan and the Raya. Then it was a result of a risky policy of Ramaraya that he wanted to play off one sultan against another. That means he was making plans like to make sultans fight among themselves. But it did not happen. They came jointly, the sultans, they came jointly and defeated him in a decisive battle. So instead of defeating, or instead of making sultans fight among themselves, the sultans, they came to know the plan. They joined hands together and fought against Ramaraya, and there he was defeated decisively. Thus this was the end of the Vijayanagar Empire. So our next topic for today is the Rayas and the Nayakas. So when you talk about these Rayas and Nayakas, here we are going to study about the role of the Nayakas and the Rayas, or we can say Amra Nayaka and Nayakas will be the main concern about this topic. So for this you can take down a question: who were Nayakas and Amra Nayakas? Describe their role in administration of Vijayanagar. So let's see what is this topic all about. The Nayakas were the military chiefs of the Vijayanagar Empire, while the Amranayaks or Nayakas were the military commanders of the Vijayanagar Empire. So remember this, Nayakas are the military chiefs, whereas Amranayakas were the military commanders of the Vijayanagar Empire. So let's see the role of the Nayaks or the Nayakas. The Nayakas, who were the military chief, exercised their power in Vijayanagar administration. They generally controlled the forts and had many soldiers under their control. It means they kept on moving from one place to another. The peasants who were in search of fertile land sometimes took their help. Now the Nayakas spoke Telugu or Kannada. Now they had accepted the authority of the Raya. When you say Raya, means remember kings of Vijayanagar. Taking the advantage of the weakness of the central administrations, they rebelled. They could be suppressed only by military action. So that was the role of the Nayakas. Then when you talk about Amranayaka are the what? As I told you, these are the military commanders, right? So let's see what are their roles. Now they were the military commanders who were given or allotted some territories to rule by their king, that is Vijayanagar Empire's king. They were free to carry out the administration of their state. They had right to collect land revenue from the peasants and other taxes from the craftsmen and traders living under their territory. Now besides that, they kept some portion of the revenue collected with them, okay, and this is done with the knowledge of the king itself. Then they keep some of the as I said, collected money with them, or some portion with them for the personal consumption and for the maintenance of their horses and elephants, and submitted the rest to the state treasury. Through their help, the rulers of Vijayanagar are firmly established and then control the peninsular region. Now the Amranayaka, sometime what do? Now you see, as everything was given to them, when I say everything means they were allowed to collect taxes, and the money whatever they collect were also allowed to be used for them, and this was done so that they can look after or manage the soldiers, the horses and all. So the Amranayakas, they have to do something for the king. So what do? They sent a tribute. A tribute means it will be anything, any type of gift, okay, to the king annually, and to present this, he personally goes to the royal court, and then he said to the king that I brought something for you, and that was his way of expressing that he is very loyal. And the king occasionally asserted their control over them by transferring some or more than one place to another. Means they will, in order to give them more power, or in order to give them more happiness, okay, the king will basically transfer this Amranayak from one area to another area. However, during the course of this century, that in 17th century, many of these Nayakas, okay, Nayakas, remember, who are the Nayakas? They are the military chiefs, right? They establish independent kingdom. Now they did not worry like what will king think, but because they know the strategy of war and they know like how to earn money, they basically started their own kingdom, and they did not even care like whether we will be strong enough to fight some kingdom or not, but they were there. But they hastened the collapse of the central imperial structure. Now because of them, the Vijayanagar's empire was moved totally. When you say move, means because they instead of helping the Vijayanagar Empire, they started helping themselves, right? They did not even worry like what is the need of the king. Instead, what did they do is they started to look after their kingdom, because they had made their own independent kingdom, and that was another cause, we can say, for the fall of the empire, then Vijayanagar Empire, right? So this was all about the Amra Nayaks and the Nayaks.